A coaching client of mine called me the other day and told me that her rent is going to be increased. She's not sure that she wants to accept that rent increase, and she's now thinking about moving to another facility. What she's really doing, or what she really needs to do, is to review her entire operation. Because of the rent increase, I asked her a question about what is it that she's getting now. Well, she's getting physical space for herself, she's getting physical space for a secretary, she's getting reception area, she's getting telephone answering service, and she's getting the library service. The essentials, if you will. Perhaps I missed one or two items. But review all that you are getting and then start afresh. Think about what it is that you'd like to be getting. What is your ideal situation? What is it that you'd really like to have in order to make your operation the most efficient, the most client-friendly, and for you, the most profitable? So here's some questions I think you ought to ask yourself. Where do your clients come from? This is important because of the centricity of your location. Years ago, when I was in the manufacturing industry, we were involved with a brand new marketing VP. And what he did was a very good lesson for me. He took a map and he plotted out where we were in relation to all of our major customers. It so happened that we were in the center of the radius for all of our customers. Consequently, our location was perfect. Had our location not been perfect, I think our facility might have been moved. So too in your consideration. If you are in the center point of the location of your clients, then that's perfect. If you're at the edge, for example, of where your clients come from, you might want to think about moving your office, especially in the case of my particular client. If she wants to move somewhere, this is an important consideration as to where she might think about looking for the new physical facility. Think about where your clients are, because you want to make it easy for them to reach you. Or said another way, you might want to make it equally difficult for all your clients to reach you, so that no one client has it all that easy and everybody has it relatively easy to get to you. The second question I think you want to ask yourself is, what image do you want to portray? If you're a PI practitioner, personal injury practitioner, it might not be appropriate for you to be in the heart of the financial district. It might not be appropriate for you to be in the heart of the most plush area of your community. On the other hand, if you were representing corporate America and the CEOs of the Fortune 500, say, it's probably not appropriate for you to be on the outskirts of town, even though it may be financially beneficial for you. Again, so think about the image that you want to portray for your clientele. And sort of aligned with this, I think you have to ask yourself, what is it that your clients expect from you? What is it that your clients expect from your particular kind of operation? What is it that your clients expect in terms of the location of your physical facility? These are important considerations, not to be minimized at all. Next, it seems to me that you need to review your financial statements. Look at your financial statements, your P&L statements for 08 and 09. Think about what they represent. Where has been the change? Where are the variances in those financial documents? Where have you shined? Where do you see your strengths? Perhaps you're a great rainmaker. Perhaps your expenses are minimal compared to the revenue that you're receiving. You want to emphasize the strengths and move forward. And then, taking into account the things we've talked about already, location, image, and so forth, move forward to enhance those particular strengths that you already have. Another consideration, it seems to me, that you want to take a look at is what have been the expenses. Where is it that you might reduce some of your expenses? Now, I know it's really easy to focus on expenses because they're right in front of you. And some people become very fanatical about this. Some people look at overhead, for example, as the single most important aspect of the practice. Years ago when I was an associate, and I went to my managing partner and asked him permission to expend a certain amount of money on some marketing activities. He looked at me and he said, go ahead. I mean, he didn't even ask me for the details. He said to me, in essence, there isn't anything you can do, there isn't any expenditure you can make that will be so great that will impact our operation. Yet, if you get one client as a result of what you do, you dramatically will impact our operation. And that was an important lesson for me. It really brought home the fact that professional services, unlike manufacturing, are focused on the top line, not so much the middle line or expense line. Not to be confused with the bottom line, which is net profit. The more that you can emphasize the rainmaking, the more that you can emphasize the revenue part of your activity, the more profitable you will be, and the greater your practice, faster your practice will grow. It's really interesting because there's another metaphor I like to use, particularly at this time of year when it's really cold and our citizens across the country have been experiencing some really significant cold snaps. Airports have been closed, traffic has been difficult to maintain and so forth. I remember leaving Boston last week and I missed a major storm by 12 hours getting back home. I was so pleased. But the point I want to make with this metaphor is that I like the colder weather better than I like the hot and humid weather because I can put more clothing on. When it's hot and humid, and originally I come from Chicago, so I understand what that climate is, I can only take off so much before I become a menace to society or subject to the penal code in my jurisdiction. Okay, you can put more clothing on. There's a limit to how much clothing you can take off. What does that metaphor mean in terms of what I'm suggesting here? There's only so much expense you can cut. There is no limit other than the personnel able to handle the business. There is no limit to the revenue you can bring in. So focus in on the revenue more than you focus in on the expenses. The next focus, I think, that's important is look at a marketing plan. Create a marketing plan. Most of us sort of have it in our head. We go from day to day to day to day, but we don't really have a marketing plan. Have a marketing plan that will tell you where you want to go at the outside, at the end of the year, for example, or the end of 6 months from now. Look at where you are today and what tactics do you need to get you from today, where you are, to tomorrow, where you want to be. When you do that, you're more likely to be far more successful in the future than you are today. Thanks for joining us.